President Obama finally convened an emergency Ebola meeting at the White House today, but Americans remain skeptical about the president's response. A new Fox poll shows 68% of Americans are concerned Ebola will spread throughout the country. Our next guest will be questioning CDC Director Dr. Thomas Frieden during a House hearing scheduled for tomorrow. Joining us now, Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn, Vice Chair of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, member of the House Budget Committee, and Congresswoman, good to have you with us.
Good to be with you.
It is, on the heels of that report from the Washington Post, there were some of the country's most respected doctors, including the director of the National Institutes of Health, Dr. Anthony Fauci, making these statements. That's going to be, one would think, horribly embarrassing to all of them.
I would think that it is, Lou, and the fact that they have received additional funding and the fact that they are spending money to go out here and run all of these frivolous programs shows that their eye isn't on the right ball. And what the American people want them to do is to do their job, whether it's the CDC or the NIH. And where they are dropping the ball is that they are not exercising the appropriate cautions and taking the appropriate actions to keep the American people safe and protected from Ebola or EV68 or any of these other conditions that arise or diseases that arise, and people are concerned about a public outbreak or epidemic.
You were at the Centers for Disease Control earlier this month and met with CDC Director Dr. Tom Frieden. Correct. You and House Rules Committee, Congressman Pete Sessions of Texas and Tom Marino. There may have been others, but Pete Sessions is calling for him to resign. There are a lot of folks who seem to be coming to the conclusion he can't handle the job. Your thoughts?
Well, I am very concerned about the way he's handling the job. The appointment I had with him had been previously set because we oversee the CDC and we're concerned about pathogens. So I went in to tour a BSL-4 lab, meet with the director. I'm concerned about the credibility issue, the trust factor. When I was speaking to a group today, Lou, this came up. How can we trust that what they are telling us is right? And people have lost that trust and confidence in this administration, and they're demanding that we do something about it. Well, maybe a change of leadership is going to be what is necessary.
So you would support his resignation? Call for his firing?
I want to hear from Dr. Frieden and Dr. Fauci tomorrow. I disagree with them on how they've handled this. I support the travel ban. I support a quarantine over in Africa. And we've got to change the way we're handling this, especially the protocols with the hospitals, as Dr. Cox just mentioned.
You know, Congresswoman, Dr. Frieden has been saying about a travel ban against flights to, from West African nations is just on its face patently absurd. And yet it's repeated and repeated, and it sounds, the more he repeats it, like a political statement rather than a medical judgment. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. That is exactly how it sounds. And it makes no sense at all to the American people. When you have the initial case, Mr. Duncan, and now you have two subsequent cases, you have 78 people that are being held for surveillance or watched for surveillance. This is something that is of concern to the American people. How far is it spreading? When you look at the airliners, what kind of guidance are they giving to the crews that are cleaning these airliners? What is happening to the air filtration systems? They see the CDC not doing their job. And when they have a case that presents in a hospital, those emergency room workers are on the front line. They have to go through the process of deciding if someone has this or could possibly be an Ebola patient, first and foremost.
Congresswoman, always good to have you with us. Thanks for being here. And by the way, we've just received word that Speaker of the House, John Boehner, also believes strongly that the president should consider a travel ban on West Africa. Thanks so much, Congresswoman.